Hello, hello everyone. So we are live again, and today we are going to see the part two of this chapter, that is nervous system. Let me tell you that we have started the chapter yesterday itself, and we have completed understanding things like what is the difference between nerves and ganglion. Then we have also seen, yes, hello. Then we have also seen that how can you differentiate a synaptic cleft and what is a synapse, right? Then what are bicycles, how the neurotransmitters are released uh, from one neuron to another neuron, and what is a synaptic bulb, what is the overall structure of a neuron. So all those things we have seen yesterday itself, right? Yes, hello. Okay, fine. Now quickly share this session with your friends, with your known ones, so that we can start quickly. Okay. Also, let me tell you that we have also completed the first uh, few units, that is the cell, the Mendelian genetics, the structure of chromosomes. Then also we have completed the whole plant physiology along with human circulatory system. This is the chapter. The nervous system also belongs to the human physiology only. So we have started the chapter yesterday itself, and today we are going to see the part two of this chapter. Fine. Now let me also tell you that apart from the free lectures that we are providing in this platform, we are also providing you free mock test. Okay, for that, what you have to do, you have to download the app Medha Guru. You have to go to the Google Play Store and download the app Medha Guru. Then after you download it, you have to log in, and then you can go to the search bar or the search button and type there 10th ICC mock test. There you're going to find all the mock tests for subjects like mathematics, physics, chemistry, and biology. All the mock tests are given in a very sequential manner so that it becomes easy for everybody to access all those mock tests. Now, the questions that are being prepared in the mock test has been extracted exactly from the lines of the Selena book. The Selena book is considered one of the most standard book for ICC curriculum. Apart from that, if your school is suggesting or recommending any other book, if you're going to go with that along with that also, okay. So basically the content is same everywhere, maybe the alignment may be different a little bit in different books, okay. Also I recommend Selena because the things are given in a very concise manner, okay. So anyways, you can refer to any book, okay. Now apart from that, if you have any kind of inquiries, you need any kind of free mentorship or guidance, you can call on this number, or also you can WhatsApp us. Fine. Okay. So let's begin with the nervous system for today. So yesterday what we have seen is that all the system that is present inside our body is actually made up of small cells, right? It is actually made up of small cells. Even if you take any big organ like liver, kidneys, the heart, all the organs inside our body is made up of tiny units, we call it as cells. Similarly, the nervous system is also made up of tiny cells that we call as neurons. We all know that nervous system comprises the nerves, brain, and the spinal cord. But all these things are made up of what? These are made up of neurons. Okay. So we all know that cells, when they aggregate, they make up the tissue. From tissues, we can make organs, and from organs, organ system is made. Finally, all the organ system comprises an organism. But if you look back, then the life has started from that one single cell. So any system, all the organs, all the tissues that you see that you have in your inside our human body is nothing but made up of small cells that we called as basically different system has different kinds of cells. Like for circulatory system, the heart is made up of what? Cardiac cells. Similarly, in case of nervous system, the whole system, that is the brain, spinal cord, and the nerves, are made up of what? It is made up of neurons. Okay. And I would like to highlight one thing, that is the longest cell. The longest cell in a human body is the neuron itself. Okay. So these things are quite basic, and we have studied all these things from our junior classes itself. Okay, let's move to the next slide. We have also seen in a very great detail that how a neuron transmits the impulses from one point to another point. We have also studied that neuron has three distinct parts, that is the dendrites, cell body, and the axon. The stimulus which is received, the part of the neuron which receives the stimulus is the dendrite. Then it sends the stimulus to the cell body, and finally it sends to the axon. Fine. So all these things we have done yesterday. We have also seen how a neurotransmitter, that is the chemical messages are conveyed from one neuron to another neuron. So also apart from that, we have seen some basic terminologies, that is stimulus, response, receptor, and effector. What is synapse? What is a synaptic cleft? How a synaptic cleft provides a medium for neurotransmitters to release from one neuron, from the axon ending of one neuron to the dendrite of another neuron. So everything we have seen yesterday. Fine. Now let's move to the next slide. Types of neurons. There are three kinds of neurons: sensory, associated, and motor neurons. Right. Now reflex action. What is a reflex action? Action which is performed within seconds rather. Okay, if I just want to say it in a one line, then it is actions which are performed within seconds. What are reflex actions? These are fast, sudden, and automatic, and all these reflex actions are involuntary in nature. Okay, they are not actually subconsciously under our control. Okay, like we have also listed some of the examples, that is blinking of an eye and knee jerk reflex action. Then this is the reflex arc. We have also documented the pathway of a reflex action. That is, first you receive the stimulus, then the receptor, the basically your skin cells or the epithelial cells receives the stimulus, then it sends to the spinal cord through the sensory neuron. Okay, sensory neuron, what does it do? It sends the signals, sorry, the messages from, yeah, hello. It sends the signals from the receptor to the spinal cord. Fine. So sensory neuron, from the name itself we can understand sensory. That means it senses the stimulus. It senses the messages. Okay, and it conveys the messages to the spinal cord. Right. Now, what is spinal cord? Spinal cord is associated with this reflex action. Okay. Now, what happens? This spinal cord acts as a CPU, right? We all know that in a computer system, the keyboard acts as an input. The CPU acts as a processing unit, right? It processes all the information that has been put into the computer, and the output is generated from the desktop, right? So similar mechanism we can see in this case of spinal cord. Spinal cord, whatever stimulus we are receiving, whatever messages our body is receiving, spinal cord or the brain actually interprets all these information and produces a result. Now, once the result is produced, it actually sends to the effector muscle. I've also taken an example, like suppose if I put my hands over a candle or over something which is hot, then what happens? Then suddenly we actually remove our hand. Why is it so? Because the stimulus that we have received has been sent to the spinal cord, and spinal cord has processed everything. It has interpreted the situation that whether I am supposed to remove my hand or not. And finally what happens, the effector muscle helps in removing our hand. So this way the whole coordination is being done in case of reflex action. And this pathway is called as reflex arc. Why are we calling it as a reflex arc? Because the pathway, if you see it closely, then it is forming like a arc. Okay, so this is the overall thing that we have seen yesterday. Okay, if somebody is having any kind of doubt or something, one can ask. Okay, fine. Now let's move. We have also seen what is the difference between a nerve and a ganglion, right? We have also seen what is the difference between a nerve and a ganglion. So aggregates of axons, all the axons together, if you put in a bundle, that becomes your nerve. And what are ganglion? the aggregates of cell bodies. Okay, the aggregates of the cell bodies are called as what? Ganglia. Ganglia is used to highlight the plurality. Okay, so this is the plural term, and for singular you can use uh, ganglia. Okay, fine. Now let's move to the next topic that we are going to start today. That is the division of the nervous system. Okay, divisions of the nervous system. Just a minute. Okay, now it's fine. Okay. So we are going to see the division of the nervous system. Our nervous system is made up of what components? The brain, the spinal cord, and the nerves. Okay. So what are we going to do is we are going to divide the nervous system into two parts, into two sections. One is what we call as CNS. CNS. That is Central Nervous System. Then we have PNS, that is Peripheral Nervous System. What is Central Nervous System? Why are we calling this as Central Nervous System? Because all the organs which are at the center of our body, like the brain and the spinal cord, is what at the center portion, at the axial portion of our body. Peripheral means sidewise. Okay, so all the nerves that are emerging from this brain or the spinal cord are termed as they are categorized under peripheral nervous system. So this is peripheral nervous system. Now under central nervous system we have brain and spinal cord. Spinal cord, right? Now, I would like to tell that these two organs are very delicate and they are protected by a tough covering. In case of brain, it is covered by skull, and in case of spinal cord, it is covered by vertebral column. It is covered by vertebral column, and these are bony cages. Okay, these are what? These are bony cages. Now, in case of peripheral nervous system is again divided into two parts. First, it is somatic nervous system, and then we have autonomic nervous system. Fine. अब हमें ये समझना है कि what is the difference between somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. Now let me tell you that this somatic nervous system सारे हमारे बॉडी में जितने भी voluntary actions हो रहे हैं, जितने भी glands या जितने भी body parts associated है voluntary action से, उसे coordinate करने वाला कौन है? That is done by somatic nervous system. So I'm just writing it here. It is associated with the voluntary actions or voluntary movements in our body, or the skeletal system which is involved with the voluntary actions, right? Whereas autonomic nervous system is associated with involuntary reactions, involuntary actions in our body, right? Now this somatic nervous system can be divided into two categories further. Okay, let me just change the color of the pen. It can be divided as cranial nerves. It has two kinds of nerves. It includes two kinds of nerves, cranial nerves and the spinal nerves and the spinal nerves. Fine. Now, cranial nerves. What do we understand by cranial nerves? नाम से ही पता चल रहा है that nerves, ऐसे nerves जो brain से emerge हो रहे हैं, क्योंकि स्कल या क्रेनियम कौन किसको प्रोटेक्ट कर रहा है? ब्रेन को. तो टर्म से ही पता चल रहा है दैट दिस इज बीइंग प्रोटेक्टेड. ओके मैम, एक्चुअली द साउंड इज बिट लो, बट एवरीथिंग इज परफेक्ट फ्रॉम माय साइड. आई हैव चेक्ड इट. नाउ इज इट ओके? इज द साउंड ओके नाउ? just reply me, whoever is asking that the sound is a bit low. Is it okay now? Your voice volume is okay for me. Okay. I think you just increase the volume of your system from where you are watching. Okay, then I think it will be fine. Okay. Now, what we said that somatic nervous system includes the cranial nerves and the spinal nerves. Cranial word, that this term is associated with brain. तो हम लोग क्या समझते हैं कि ये जितने भी cranial nerves है, these are actually arising from the brain. Okay, all the a set of nerves that is arising from the brain से जितनी भी nerves emerge हो रही है या originate हो रही है, इन्हें हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं? इन्हें हम बोलते हैं cranial nerves, and these are actually of 12 pairs. Okay, just a minute. Yeah, these are actually of 12 pairs. 12 pairs, that means in total it is 24. Now, spinal nerves नाम से ही पता चल रहा है that set of nerves that are emerging from the spinal cord. तो इसे हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं? Spinal nerves. They are actually 31 pairs. They are actually 31 pairs. Now, let's come to autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system further hosts two systems, that is parasympathetic. Parasympathetic. First, it will be sympathetic. Just writing it in chronological order. Sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic. Parasympathetic nervous system. Now, what do we understand by sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system? Sympathetic nervous system is something like if sometimes uh, if we are encountering a fearful situation, or if we are actually nervous during the situation, during the time when we are nervous about something, then what happens? You might be feeling uneasy feeling. Your body is actually adapting to that environment. Okay, your body is actually adapting to that environment. So who is actually making your body adapting to that environment or preparing your body for that time? It is actually your sympathetic nervous system. Whereas after that fearful situation is over, after you after you are actually relaxed, we all know this thing that after that fearful situation is gone, your body actually relaxes. So who is actually adapting your body to that relaxed state? Who is bringing your body again back to that relaxed state? It is actually your parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, so जितने भी fearful situation है, जितने भी fearful situation है, it's okay ma'am, okay ma'am, fine. So जितने भी fearful situation है, जितना भी जब जिस भी situation में हम लोग nervous रहते हैं, तो उसमें basically होता है क्या है कि हमारा sympathetic nervous system activate हो जाता है. फाइन. और हम लोग अगर डर गए, नर्वस हो गए, तो हम लोग उसी स्टेट में नहीं रह जाते. आवर बॉडी एक्चुअली रीगेन्स अगेन द ओरिजिनल स्टेट, अगेन कम्स बैक टू द ओरिजिनल स्टेट, दैट इज द रिलैक्स स्टेट. तो उसे कौन करवाता है? दैट इज एक्चुअली डन बाय पैरासिम्पथेटिक नर्वस सिस्टम. ओके, सो दीज थिंग्स वी आर गोइंग टू सी in detail when we are studying the spinal cord and the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. Now let's move to the next slide. Now, what we have seen that nervous system is basically divided into two major components or parts, that is central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Central nervous system, the term central means at the center. So at the center we have our brain and our spinal cord. This brain and spinal cord are very delicate organs. So it has to be protected by some kind of tough structures. So brain is protected by skull and the spinal cord is protected by the vertebral column. Fine. Peripheral nervous system. Periphery means sidewise. So all the nerves, all the set of nerves that are emerging from this brain spinal cord actually constitutes this peripheral nervous system. Okay, periphery means sidewise, central means at the center. So under this peripheral nervous system, we have somatic and autonomic. This somatic nervous system further uh, constitute the two kinds of nerves, that is the cranial nerves and the spinal nerves. Cranial nerves नाम से ही पता चल रहा है, that means जो ब्रेन से इमर्ज हो रही है, ऐसे पेयर ऑफ नर्व्स जो ब्रेन से इमर्ज हो रही है, एंड cranial nerves are total in 12 pairs. Spinal nerves ऐसे nerves जो spinal cord से इमर्ज हो रहे हैं, ये टोटल 31 pairs के होते हैं. Now let me also tell you that somatic nervous system voluntary action से associated है. जितने भी voluntary actions हो रही है हमारे बॉडी में, वो uh, उसके लिए कौन responsible है? This somatic nervous system is actually coordinating everything. Whereas autonomic nervous system जो है, ये हमारे बॉडी के हर इनवॉलेंट्री एक्शंस को रेगुलेट करता है, कंट्रोल करता है. This again further can be classified as sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic. Okay, so we have is it clear till here? Is it clear till here? If somebody is having any kind of doubt, one can ask. Now, let's move to the next slide. Now, we are going to start with the most important part of this nervous system, that is brain. Brain, it is the most delicate organ of our body. Brain बहुत ही ज़्यादा important organ होता है in case of in case of any organism. Without this brain, our body cannot function properly. So everything, even if your heart is beating, even you are breathing, even your food is getting digested, everything is being coordinated by this brain itself. Okay, if your brain is not working properly, if your brain is not if it is malfunctioning, then other systems also will not perform the functions properly. Okay, so this is the thing. So it is protected inside what? It is protected inside a bony cage, which we called as skull, right? Its weight is 1.35 kg. Okay, 1.3 approximately. Approximately of a normal adult. In a normal adult, the weight of the brain is 1.35 kg. So these data are generally not asked in examinations, but since it is given in your book, so I'm just highlighting these points. Okay, amount of water. Do you people know that 80% of the brain is made up of water, or 80% of the volume of brain is actually water? So it's quite interesting. Okay, and also I would like to just mention one more thing, that 20% of the oxygen that we inhale, okay, 20% of the oxygen that we inhale is actually utilized by this brain. Okay, now we all know that brain is what? Brain is a very delicate organ. Yes, hello. Brain is what? Brain is a very delicate organ, right? We need, so something which is very delicate has to be protected very well, right? Has to be protected very well. So we all know that brain is protected by the skull. This bony cage is called as skull. But apart from the skull, there is a membranous layer which we called as meninges. Okay, apart from the skull, there is a membranous layer that we called as meninges. So uh, I'm just writing it here. Membranous layer. It is actually meninges. It is what? Meninges. Now let me tell you, this meninges is actually not a single layer. Okay, it is not a single layer. Rather, it is made up of three layers of or three foundations. Okay, so what are those? The outermost. The outermost is called as the dura mater. Dura mater. The middle one, the middle layer is called as the arachnoid. Arachnoid. And the innermost layer, which is in contact with the brain tissue, is called as pia mater. Pia mater. Now we are going to understand this way, that suppose this is our brain, this is the surface of our brain, and we know why I'm drawing like this, because the surface of the brain is not smooth, it has convulsions. Okay, what do we understand by the term convulsions? That means it has folds, okay, that goes up and makes grooves. Grooves means गड्ढे. ठीक है, ये छोटे छोटे गड्ढे. The brain, the membrane of the brain is actually not smooth. ये फोल्डेड रहते हैं. इस फोल्डिंग की वजह से it can have trough and sorry it can the foldings are called as a gyrus and sulci that we are going to see it later on when we are studying the. Ma'am, why does brain have gyri and sulci? Because you know, if it was smooth, okay, if it was smooth, then the surface area is not that much. But if you fold something, okay, suppose if I take a layer like this, and if I take a layer of something like this, then obviously the surface area is more here when you are folding something. Okay, it has more surface area. And why brain is actually designed in that way, so that more and more, it can have more and more surface area, so to accommodate more and more neurons inside it. Okay, Ananya Pandey, whoever is asking. Ma'am, ma'am, you are gold without G. That means I am old. Okay. So why does done, Ananya Pandey? It's okay. Did you understand? Okay. So brain has proper convulsions. Okay, brain has convulsions. These foldings are nothing but the convulsions. So as to increase what? To increase the surface area, right? Because if something has a, you know has a wider surface area, it can accommodate more and more units. Now, a brain, if a brain, it would have, suppose it had a smooth surface, then what would have happened, that it could have accommodate little neurons only. But now it has foldings, but now since it has foldings, it has actually increased its surface area. Now it can accommodate more and more neurons inside it. Okay, so this is the reason that brain has convergence. Fine. Okay. So what I was saying is that this brain, being a delicate organ, must be protected in a very well manner, right? We have skull, right? Our brain is actually protected by the skull, but skull isn't enough. Skull isn't enough. We need to have some other structures. There is a membranous layer which we called as meninges, which we called as meninges, right? Now, this meninges is actually made up of three layers. This meninges is made up of three layers. The outermost layer is called as the dura mater. The middle, this is the outermost. Suppose this is the outermost, then this is the middle, and this is the inner. Okay, so like this, it's kind of sandwich kind of structure is there. So the outermost is dura mater, the middle one is the arachnoid, and the innermost uh, membrane is called as the pia mater. Now, suppose if I draw it in a rough manner, so what I was explaining is, suppose this is the structure of, this is the surface of the brain. Now, above this, we have a skull, we have a layer of the bony uh, protecting ridge, which we called as skull. Suppose this is skull, and this is the surface of the brain. Now, between the skull and the brain, the surface of the brain, there is a membranous layer which we called as what? Which we called as meninges. Now, what will happen? The innermost layer, this which will be in contact with the brain tissue. This is the pia mater. Then we can have another membrane, which is the middle membrane. This one. Just a minute. Yeah, this one. This one is actually arachnoid, and it is actually a web-like structure. Okay, it has networks that we are going to discuss in the next slide. And then the outermost layer, this is the dura mater. So this will be the dura mater. This middle one will be the arachnoid, and the innermost layer, which is in contact with the brain tissue, this will be called as pia mater. Fine. This will be called as pia matter. Fine. Now let's move to the next slide. Let's move to the next slide. Now, can you see this picture has been taken from your book? Okay, this is taken not from Selena but from Goel Publishers. So the picture is quite prominent. You can see this. Now, what the picture is trying to tell us, that this is actually the brain. Now, what has been done? It has been elaborated this way. Now, this is what? This is the brain. Okay, this is the brain. This is the brain. We can see the conversions, the foldings. These are what? These are the conversions or the foldings. Now, in contact to this brain, in contact with this brain, there is a layer which we called as pia mater. So basically this layer, this one, this one, okay, which I am highlighting with black. This is what? This is the pia mater. This is the pia mater. Okay, it's already been written here. This is the pia mater. Then can you see a web-like structure? There are certain networks. There are certain web-like structures. These are what? This is the layer which is called as arachnoid. This arachnoid term has been taken from arachne. Arachne is used for spider. Okay, for spider, for group of spiders, or for when you study about the phylum and the subphylum, for spiders we use the term arachne. And the outermost layer is the dura mater. The term dura has been derived from durable. That means it is tough and fibrous. It is tough and fibrous. Fine. And above that, this is the pia mater, this is the arachnoid, this is the dura mater, and above this, can you see a skull-like structure? Sorry, a bony structure. This bony structure is nothing but the skull, which is protecting the brain. So between the skull and the brain, there is a membranous layer which we called as meninges. Meninges is further divided into three layers, that is dura mater, arachnoid, and pia mater. I just want to write. We can just document few things on these. Okay, fine. Now, dura mater. Though we have already discussed, dura mater is what? It is the outermost layer, and it is made up of tough fibrous tissues. Tough and fibrous tissues. Fine. Next, arachnoid. Arachnoid. It has web-like appearance. Okay, and it gives actually cushion to the brain. Now, what do we understand by cushion? Like if you hit, if your head gets hit to something, then what happens? Like suppose if you're falling over a bed, and if you're falling on the floor, where will you get hit? Obviously, if you're falling over the on the floor, right? So what happens if you're getting hit by some hard thing or some tough thing? Then what does it do? It actually provides a cushion, so that brain does not get encountered with that mechanical injury. Okay, so for that, what has been done? There is a middle layer which we called as arachnoid, and it is actually cushion like. It has a web like appearance. Web like means it has networks, jali jaisa. Okay, in aam bhasha we can say jali jaisa. Okay, it has a cushion like, it is a cushion like thing. Then the last layer which is in contact with the brain tissue, it is in contact. I'm just writing it here. Contact contact with the brain tissue. This is called as pia mater. Okay, now there is this specialty about this pia mater. This pia mater is actually highly vascular. Okay, it is highly vascular. That means, what do we understand by the term vascular? हम लोग कार्डियक सिस्टम में या फिर सर्कुलेटरी सिस्टम में ये पढ़ चुके हैं. वैस्कुलर मीन्स ब्लड वेसल्स. ओके, वैस्कुलर मीन्स ब्लड वेसल्स. So it has this pia mater. This layer of pia mater has numerous vascular bundles. Okay, that means it has blood. It has blood. Okay, it is highly vascular, and the innermost, innermost, and also it is very thin. It is also thin. Like dura mater is quite thick, arachnoid is somewhat intermediate, but this pia mater is very thin. So basically, dura mater is the outermost layer. Then we have the arachnoid and the pia mater. Dura mater, the word dura means durable. That means tough and fibrous. Okay, and it is the outermost, and it is quite thick even. Arachnoid is what? It is web-like. It has networks. जाली जाली जैसा इसका appearance होता है, and it provides the cushion for the brain. ठीक है? It actually acts as a cushion. नाउ द इनर मोस्ट लेयर, जो सबसे अंदर की तरफ, जो ब्रेन के साथ कांटेक्ट में है, उसे हम क्या कहते हैं? पाया मैटर. ये काफी ज्यादा वैस्कुलर है, यानी कि इट इज फिल्ड अप ऑफ ब्लड वेसल्स, lymphatic vessels, and it provides oxygen and nutrients to the brain. Okay, and it is the innermost layer, but it is very thin. It is very thin. It is very thin. Okay, any doubt till here? One can ask. One can ask. Fine. Now let's move to the next slide. Now, what do we understand by meningitis? Is the video coming lag? So laggy. Is the video lagging? Is the video lagging? Just tell me. Anyways, okay. Now, what is meningitis? It is a disease. Okay, meningitis is, it is a disease related to meninges. Now, what happens sometimes that this meninges, the layer of meninges, gets affected by some kind of bacterial infection or viral infection, and it becomes inflamed. Okay, it becomes swollen. So that particular disease is called as meningitis. Okay, so we can just write it in a one line: inflammation, inflammation of the meninges layer. It is called as meningitis. Right? Now there is another term, cerebrospinal fluid. This is a special kind of fluid. This is actually present inside the ventricles of the vein. Now, what are ventricles? Inside our brain there are few hollow spaces. Okay, those hollow spaces are called as what? Those hollow spaces are called as ventricles. Okay, there are certain hollow spaces inside the brain that we called as ventricles. Okay, so inside those ventricles, what happens? There's a fluid which fills up those ventricles or that hollow spaces. That is called as cerebrospinal fluid. That particular fluid is called as cerebrospinal fluid. Okay, that is called as cerebrospinal fluid. Now, apart from the brain also, uh, the neural canal inside which the spinal cord runs through, inside that neural canal also this cerebrospinal fluid is there. Now, what does it do? I'm just writing the location first. Location: it is present inside the ventricles. Ventricles are what? These are actually hollow spaces inside the ventricles of the brain. Fine. Next, also inside the neural canal. Neural canal we are going to discuss when we discuss the structure of the spinal cord. Okay, fine. Now, what is its function? It actually lubricates. It provides lubrication. Provides lubrication to the brain and the spinal cord. Fine. Is the spirit. Now, if it is asked, this the term itself clarifies that cerebro, यानी कि ये ब्रेन के वेंट्रिकल्स के अंदर भी सेरिबल सेरिब्रम, जब हम लोग पढ़ेंगे ब्रेन के पार्ट्स को, सेरिब्रम के अंदर जो वेंट्रिकल्स होते हैं, जो हॉलो स्पेसेस होते हैं, उन्हें हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं? ब्रेन के अंदर जितने भी हॉलो स्पेसेस होते हैं, उन्हें हम लोग वेंट्रिकल्स कहते हैं. So inside those hollow spaces, inside those ventricles, this cerebrospinal fluid is present. Spinal word is also being used because it is present inside the neural canal of the spinal cord even. Okay, fine. Now, uh, since there are certain issues with, I think, the connections, so we can just see the parts of brain in the next class. Okay, by by that, if you have any kind of doubt, any kind of inquiries, you can Just post your doubts in the doubt section, that is the comment section, and we are going to reply you back within 24 hours.